Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Peter Hafriger. I'm a business analyst and product owner at Avalok. And as Dirk mentioned, I would like to speak about Wholesome Talk, language patterns for feedback and learning. It's a special topic for me because usually I tell people that the walk is more important than the talk. But that's when they are just using agile buzzwords instead of applying agile principles and living agile values. I recently came to understand that there is a different type of talk which actually enables and supports the walk. And the eye-opener was this book by David Marquet, Leadership is Language. David Marquet is better known for his first book, Turn the Ship Around. I call this type of talk Wholesome Talk. It consists of language patterns which invite feedback and foster learning. But for this to work, there is one important precondition. Leaders must care about feedback and diversity of opinion. Some leaders don't want any feedback because they are so convinced of their own genius. They are not curious, they don't want to learn, they will never walk agile. A tragic implementation of this anti-pattern to agility is Mao's Great Leap Forward. If you want to read more about the devastating effects of Mao's genius on the Chinese economy, check out Tim Harford's book, The Undercover Economist, the last chapter. Because feedback hits you anyway, sooner or later. And in Agile and DevOps, we want to get it as soon as possible while we can still react and adapt. But leaders have to be careful because they can stifle feedback even without intending to. Leaders are convincing. They are charismatic, experienced, visionary, or even all three of that at once. If they present their ideas and opinions first, the others will listen, but no one will speak up. That's why leaders have to listen first and speak last. They have to do everything they can to flatten the power gradient. Imagine you're a leader or expert or senior team member and you approach your colleagues like this, even stressing and highlighting all your experience and expertise. Well, who could then say anything against your opinion? You will only get alternative viewpoints if you actively invite them and if you communicate with your colleagues on eye level. There is other mistakes you should avoid, for example, the 7 sins of questioning. One of them is binary questions. The problem with binary questions is that they force a 55% yes into a 100% yes. And they put the full responsibility onto the receiver of the question. And if then anything goes wrong, well, it was you who said it was safe. So don't use binary questions, use how questions or what questions instead. How safe is it? What is your tension with this approach? What might go wrong? What would be the alternatives? Even worse than binary questions are self-affirming binary questions because they really just force affirmation onto the receiver. You will not learn anything new from the answers. So ask open questions instead. Explicitly ask what you're missing. And don't ask why, because it might put the receiver into defensive mode. If you don't want your curiosity to be mistaken for criticism, ask what questions again, or open questions. And finally, studies have shown that if you praise a child for being good at something, they will choose a simpler task next to get praised again for being good. If, on the other hand, you praise them for behavior, they will choose a more complex task next. And that's a natural reaction because we all crave for praise and we all want to feel competent and we all want to be good at what we're doing. But while being good is good, getting better is better. That's why we want feedback and learning. And then one day we will indeed do great leaps, even through fire. So let's quickly recap. Wholesome talk. Leaders must care about feedback and diversity of opinion. They must listen first and speak last. Try to flatten the power gradient. Avoid the 7 sins of questioning, of which we have looked at 3. And praise for behavior, not characteristics. And with that, time's up already. Sorry, no time for feedback now. Approach me later anytime. Thank you.